Can we go to the TikTok, if you will, of the Access Hollywood crisis?
Sure.
Tell the story of what happened that day.
Well, the short version is that this is Friday morning in October, and on that Sunday night, Trump was preparing to debate Hillary Clinton in St. Louis. It was their second presidential debate. So they were holed up in the 25th floor in a conference room at Trump Tower, and it's Donald Trump and Chris Christie at a table. Chris Christie is portraying Hillary Clinton in this debate prep session, and Reince Priebus, the chairman of the party, he's acting as the moderator. And the president's advisors and some of his family members are in the room, and they're all kind of offering some feedback. And one by one, everyone in the room starts to leave, which is pretty unusual. And at one point, Reince Priebus looks up and he kind of scans the room, and it's just the three of them, he and Trump and Christie. And Priebus says to Trump, when everybody leaves the room at the same time, something's going on. And at that moment, Trump, who hadn't really realized it either, he looks outside of the room and he can see through the plate glass doors that all of his high command of the campaign is gathered, sort of whispering in hushed tones just outside of the conference room. And Trump yells at them. He says, "Yeah, what the hell is going on out there?" And there's this long passing moment where nobody quite knows what's happening. And finally, the door swings open, and Hope Hicks, the communications director for the campaign, she comes in, hands a stack of papers to Donald Trump. We know now that that stack of papers was a printed out email exchange with the Washington Post reporter who had obtained that Access Hollywood tape. And Trump is reading through the remarks, and he suddenly stops very abruptly when he sees some of the vulgar remarks, and he says, "This doesn't sound like me. I don't think this is me." And Reince Priebus is losing his mind at this point because he's saying, "What the hell is going on? Somebody please tell me something." So Trump gives the papers to Reince Priebus. Priebus sees the same comments, and he basically immediately says, "This is fatal. I mean, we're done. This is it. This is as bad as it gets." Really, the only person in the room at that point who thought that it wasn't lethal to the campaign was Jared Kushner, and he pipes up and says, "I don't think it's all that bad." And everyone sort of rolled their eyes. But basically, everyone else in the room that day, from Steve Bannon to Dave Bossie, Kellyanne Conway, the president's children, they all thought that this was it, that this was that he was toast. And
did the president
explain how he survived the weekend? Essentially,
did the president feel that he was toast, or did he know I can get past this?
From everything my reporting has told me, Glenn, that was the one moment in the campaign where he felt like that things were probably cooked. That he was already fighting a little bit of an uphill battle. That he had professionalized the campaign a little bit and surrounded himself with some really good people who are veterans and who had a lot of polling and data analytics to show him that this was going to be really tough. That he'd really have to pull off an inside straight. But they weren't pessimistic up until that point. I think that weekend it did hit Trump that I probably am going to lose, but that made him all the more defiant. Frankly, he was going to lose on his terms. He wasn't going to be pushed out of the race.